This sign means A. Trucks under 18,000 pounds. Allowed. B. Hill ahead. C. Truck stop ahead. D. No trucks allowed. B. Hill ahead. This sign warns that there is a steep hill ahead. To prepare for anything coming up on the road ahead, you should A. Continually scan the entire road and all roadsides. B. Stare straight ahead at all times. C. Drive with your left foot resting lightly on the brake pedal. D. Maintain focus toward the middle of the road. A. Continually scan the entire road and all roadsides. Your ability to handle dangerous traffic situations depends largely on searching for and identifying problems before meeting them. Looking far ahead of your vehicle does not mean you should simply stare at the center of the road. You need to continually scan the entire road, including the sides of the road. You are driving in moderate traffic on a 4-lane highway behind a slow-moving vehicle. Before changing lanes, you must A. Signal your intentions for at least 100 feet. B. Make sure your blind spot is clear. C. Make sure there is sufficient room in traffic to make the move. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. Before changing lanes, check highway and traffic conditions ahead, to the sides, and to the rear of your vehicle. After checking your mirrors, check your blind spot by turning your head and looking over your shoulder in the direction of your move. Signal your intention at least 100 feet before you start the lane change. Don't move into a space between vehicles if doing so would interfere with their safe following distances. You are driving when your power steering stops working. You should A. Honk your horn and turn off the ignition. B. Turn on your hazard lights and brace yourself. C. Work hard to steer, reduce your speed, drive to a safe area, and stop. D. Slam on your brakes. C. Work hard to steer, reduce your speed, drive to a safe area, and stop. If your power steering stops working, additional effort will be required to maintain steering control. Reduce your speed and pull off the roadway to stop in a safe area.
Want to ace your DMV test? Click on the link below and get your guaranteed cheat sheet.
This sign means A. No U-turn. B. Two-way left turn. C. Minimum speed limit. D. No parking. A. No U-turn. Regulation signs regulate traffic speed and movement, displaying rules which drivers must obey. Wherever this regulation sign is posted, U-turns are not permitted. This sign means A. Keep right. B. Low shoulder. C. No parking at any time. D. Lane ends. A. Keep right. Regulation signs regulate traffic speed and movement, displaying rules which drivers must obey. This regulation sign indicates that drivers should keep right to avoid an upcoming potential driving hazard. Larger vehicles have A. Larger blind spots. B. Smaller blind spots. C. No blind spots. D. The same blind spots as smaller vehicles. A. Larger blind spots. The larger the vehicle, the larger the blind spots. Large trucks and SUVs have spots close to their rears that cannot be seen in their side or rearview mirrors. If you stop along the road at night, A. Turn off all your lights. B. Use your parking lights only. C. Use your headlights only. D. Turn on your emergency flashers and leave your low beams turned on. D. Turn on your emergency flashers and leave your low beams turned on. If you stop along the road at night, turn on your emergency flashers and leave your low beam headlights turned on. Be sure that other road users will be able to clearly see your vehicle. When driving to an unfamiliar area, you A. should depend on road signs to find your way. B. should plan your trip in advance. C. only have to know generally where your destination is. D. should always choose the most direct route. B. should plan your trip in advance. When driving to an unfamiliar area, plan your trip in advance. Don't start with only a hazy idea of where you are going. If your destination is in an unfamiliar area, check the location on a map before you start to drive. If an oncoming driver is heading toward you in your lane, you should A. blow your horn, steer right, and accelerate. B. blow your horn, steer left, and brake. C. blow your horn, steer right, and brake. D. stay in the center of your lane, blow your horn, and brake. C. blow your horn, steer right, and brake. If another vehicle is approaching you head-on in your lane, you should first honk your horn to attract attention. If the other driver does not move over, try to escape to the right. If you swerve left and the other driver corrects at the last instant, you will still crash. If a collision is unavoidable, brake firmly and steadily. Every mile per hour you slow down will reduce the impact. A "no standing" sign at a certain location means A. you may never stop your vehicle there. B. you may park there if the driver remains in the vehicle. C. you may stop temporarily only to pick up or discharge passengers. D. you may stop to load or unload merchandise. C. you may stop temporarily only to pick up or discharge passengers. A "no standing" sign means that you may only make a temporary stop to load or discharge passengers. On a two-lane street, your vehicle is being followed by a fire engine that is not using its emergency signals. You should A. continue to drive in a normal manner. B. stop as quickly as you can. C. speed up to get out of its way. D. slow down, move as far to the right as possible, and stop. A. continue to drive in a normal manner. If you are being followed by an emergency vehicle that is not using its siren or flashing lights, you do not need to clear a path. Continue driving in a normal manner. An intersection has no traffic signs or signals. You arrive at the same time as a vehicle to your right. You should A. speed up and get through the intersection. B. slow down and yield to the vehicle on your right. C. drive into the intersection and make the other vehicle stop. D. honk your horn and drive through the intersection. B. slow down and yield to the vehicle on your right. When two vehicles arrive to an uncontrolled intersection at the same time, the vehicle on the right has the right of way. Once the vehicle on the right has safely passed through the intersection, the other driver may proceed. You must stop for a school bus. A. that is parked on the shoulder of the road with no one in it. B. when it approaches you, even if its lights are not flashing. C. If you are both driving on a two-lane highway and its red lights are flashing. D. Whenever the driver waves at you. C. If you are both driving on a two-lane highway and its red lights are flashing. You must stop when approaching a school bus that is displaying flashing red lights while stopped to pick up or drop off children. On a two-lane road, traffic moving in both directions must stop and remain stopped as long as the red lights near the top of the bus are flashing and/or the stop arm on the left side of the bus is extended. When driving in rain, you must A. Use low beam headlights. B. Use high beam headlights. C. Use parking lights. D. Use no lights. A. Use low beam headlights. In rainy conditions, you should use your low beam headlights. When turning left, drivers must yield the right of way to A. Other drivers who are already in the intersection. B. Oncoming traffic. C. Pedestrians who are already in the intersection. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. When turning left, drivers must yield the right of way to oncoming traffic. Drivers must also always yield the right of way to pedestrians, bicyclists, and other drivers who are already in the intersection. Bicyclists must refrain from A. Carrying passengers, unless the bicycle is equipped to do so. B. Riding on the sidewalk in every location. C. Riding at night. D. Riding in the roadway in a business district. A. Carrying passengers, unless the bicycle is equipped to do so. Bicyclists are not allowed to ride on the sidewalk in business districts. In other areas, bicyclists may ride on sidewalks as long as they stay at speeds of 10 miles per hour or slower and always yield the right of way to pedestrians. Bicyclists may ride at night if they have a headlight and rear reflector. Bicyclists should never transport passengers, unless the bicycle is equipped to do so. This road sign means A. Do not enter. B. No parking. C. No U-turn. D. No left turn. C. No U-turn. These signs indicate that U-turns are prohibited in the location where it is posted. When driving near a blind pedestrian who is carrying a white cane or using a guide dog, you should A. Slow down and be prepared to stop. B. Take the right of way. C. Proceed normally. D. Drive away quickly. A. Slow down and be prepared to stop. When driving near a blind pedestrian who is carrying a white cane or walking with a guide dog, you must slow down, yield the right of way, and then proceed with caution. Be prepared to stop your vehicle in order to prevent injury or danger to the pedestrian. You are coming to an intersection and have a green light. Pedestrians are crossing against the red. You should A. Honk your horn. B. Speed up and pass in front of the pedestrians. C. Stop to let the pedestrians cross safely. D. Drive close to the pedestrians and frighten them so they'll think twice before crossing against a red light. C. Stop to let the pedestrians cross safely. Yield to pedestrians and cars that may be caught in an intersection when you have a green light. Be careful around pedestrians under every circumstance. When is it illegal to drive below the speed limit? A. When driving slowly disrupts the normal flow of traffic. B. When in heavy traffic in a construction zone. C. Only when driving in rural areas. D. When driving under adverse weather conditions. A. When driving slowly disrupts the normal flow of traffic. It is illegal to drive so slowly that you disrupt the normal flow of traffic. You may receive a citation for driving too slowly. At a four-way stop. A. The driver to arrive first has the right of way. B. The driver to arrive last has the right of way. C. One driver should continue driving without stopping. D. One driver should wave the other drivers ahead. A. The driver to arrive first has the right of way. At four-way stops, traffic from all four directions must stop. The first vehicle to reach the intersection should move forward first. If two vehicles reach the intersection at the same time, the driver on the left yields to the driver on the right. At an intersection with a yield sign, you should A. Always stop before entering the intersection. B. Yield just to the traffic on the right. C. Yield just to the traffic on the left. D. Slow down and yield the right of way to other traffic. D. Slow down and yield the right of way to other traffic. A yield sign means that you must slow down and yield the right of way to traffic in the intersection or roadway you are entering. Traffic signs and pavement markings. A. Must always be obeyed. B. Are merely suggestions. C. Must be followed only when there is other traffic. D. Must be followed only when a police officer is present. This road sign means A. Sharp right turn. B. A road joins from the right. C. The road ahead turns sharply right, then sharply left. D. Winding road ahead. C. The road ahead turns sharply right, then sharply left. This sign indicates that the road ahead turns sharply to the right and then sharply to the left. When towing a trailer, you must make sure that A. The trailer has a safety chain securely attached to the trailer hitch. B. The trailer has a safety chain securely attached to the vehicle's bumper. C. The trailer has a safety chain securely attached to the frame of the towing vehicle. D. The trailer hitch is equipped with a fail-safe latch. C. The trailer has a safety chain securely attached to the frame of the towing vehicle. Your trailer must be equipped with safety chains. Safety chains must be attached to the frame of the towing vehicle and the trailer. They should not be connected to a part of the trailer hitch. What are the colors of warning signs indicating upcoming hazards? A. Black letters or symbols on a white background. B. Black letters or symbols on a yellow background. C. White letters or symbols on a blue background. D. White letters or symbols on a green background. B. Black letters or symbols on a yellow background. Warning signs that indicate approaching hazards are usually yellow with black lettering or symbols. Warning signs in work zones are orange with black lettering or symbols. You may drive around or under a gate that is being lowered or raised at a railroad crossing. A. As long as an approaching train is not too close. B. If your vehicle can do so without damaging the gate. C. If you first look carefully in both directions. D. Under no circumstances. D. Under no circumstances. Flashing red lights, lowered crossing gates, and/or bells at a railroad crossing mean that you must come to a complete stop. You must not go across the tracks until the lights and bells have stopped and the crossing gates are completely up. Do not drive around or under a gate that is moving up or down. What should you be most concerned about when you see this sign? A. Driving with your headlights out of alignment because one side of your car is higher than the other. B. Damaging a tire from drifting onto the shoulder. C. Hydroplaning, if the shoulder has water on it. D. Losing control of the vehicle if you drift onto the shoulder. D. Losing control of the vehicle if you drift onto the shoulder. This sign indicates that the shoulder is lower than the road in the area ahead. If you drift off of the roadway and one wheel drops onto a low shoulder, do not slam on the brakes or steer sharply to try to get back onto the roadway. This could easily cause you to lose control of your vehicle. This sign means A. All traffic must turn. B. Turn right at the intersection. C. Parking area ahead. D. Crossroad ahead. Watch for traffic. D. Crossroad ahead. Watch for traffic. This sign warns of the presence of a crossroad ahead.